Voters think Joe Biden and Donald Trump's ages could be an issue in their re-election chances. But Mike O'Neill, host of KTAR's The Think Tank podcast, says the supposed consensus on age isn't the biggest issue.
You ask the majority, say, Joe Biden is too old. Then you say, well, who would you like to see? And nobody gets more than 5%.
He says it makes the swaths of independent voters all the more important in the 2024 election. You can read the full poll at KTAR.com. Temperatures once again are expected to soar across the state over the next several days. ADOT urging drivers to take precautions to reduce the chances of your car breaking down in the heat.
Make sure your fuel tank is at least 3/4 full. Make sure your tires are properly inflated. An underinflated tire on super hot pavement can lead to a blowout, and that will strand you along the road. Check your air conditioning. Make sure it's working. Check your coolant levels.
ADOT Steve Elliott says it's also a good idea to take along an extreme heat road kit that includes a fully charged cell phone, an ice chest with plenty of cold water for everyone, including your pets, and bring along sun protection, such as sunscreen, an umbrella, and a wide-brim hat in case you have to exit your vehicle. If you thought you were going to be tearing it up in a club tonight, think again. 50 Cent has canceled tonight's show at Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater due to extreme heat. Today's high is expected to get up to 116 degrees. An excessive heat warning is in effect through 8 p.m. tomorrow evening. Border security, an influx of migrants at Arizona's border with Mexico, and the ongoing legal battles former President Donald Trump faces are all topics we'll discuss with Republican Congressman Juan Ciscomani. He joins the Mike Broomhead Show in just a few minutes, and you can watch and listen to the interview live on the KTAR News app and on KTAR.com, or listen here at 92.3 FM. Get an update on traffic as we go live to the Valley Chevy Dealers Traffic Center. Here's John Roller.
Yeah, Jeff, and you mentioned broken down cars. We've got a couple of them over in the East Valley. Let's start with the northbound Loop 101. Just had a call of a stalled vehicle at the McKellips off-ramp. And a little further south of that, we've got a stalled vehicle northbound 101, the Price Freeway, right at Broadway. That is moving off to the right, but that's the heaviest slowing we're seeing over in the East Valley from the 60 northbound on the Price all the way up to the Red Mountain Freeway. Also a little bit of slowing still on the westbound I-10 right at the US 60 transition ramp. That'll stay with you through the Broadway curve. Other than that, Valley main lines are cleaning up rather nicely. We do have one crash on a surface street. That's over in Scottsdale at Scottsdale Road and Lincoln Drive. That in the clearing stages. John Roller, KTAR News.
An excessive heat warning in effect for south central Arizona through tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. and the high ozone pollution advisory in effect for the Phoenix area has now been extended to tomorrow evening at 9 p.m. Mostly sunny, 10% chance of rain today, a high of 116. Tonight clear, the low 92. Right now in Phoenix, sunny skies, 101 degrees. Weather's brought to you by Howard Air. I'm Jeff Munn on Arizona's news station, KTAR News.
Strong values and strong opinions. The Mike Broomhead Show. KTAR News, 92.3 FM, and the KTAR News app.
All right, in studio with me is Congressman Juan Ciscomani. Welcome back. I'm glad you're here.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks to be happy to be here.
It's nice when you're up in the valley. You know, I know you've got business in southern Arizona, but we like having you up here once in a while.
Well, nothing beats being in person. That's why I'm happy to be home. I tell people all the time that coming home here for the district work period keeps me engaged, keeps me informed, and it also keeps me married. These are all things that we're good to be home for.
Yeah, well, let's dive into some of the big issues. The biggest one being the border. It seems with the pushback of mayors like Adams in New York and Governor Hochul in New York, prominent, very liberal Democrats speaking out against the White House, isn't it possible that you can get something done in Congress with your Democrat associates and colleagues and finally get something done on this border issue, or is that not possible?
Well, there's a good number of Democrats that see this issue, no question about it, and some more are coming to the table on this because they're seeing the crisis come to their hometowns. We've been saying for a long time that every state has become a border state with the fentanyl crisis, with the migrants going everywhere. Now we're up in the millions. So, of course, states like New York are now seeing it. They're also getting a nice lump of money here that they, in my opinion, should be coming more to the Arizona border than the New York area. But you and I were talking off the air. Even the local leaders in New York are saying we're overwhelmed. We can't keep up with this traffic. And that's just one state where they're going to. When we're looking at the border, everyone's coming through our border states. So where does that leave small areas in my community like Benson, Sierra Vista, Douglas, Yuma, even in the southern part of the state, Nogales? They are being overrun by this for sure.
In your unique perspective, your family came here. You're a naturalized citizen, so you've been through this entire process. Now, I know you've said it so eloquently, there's a difference. One is border security, immigration's a separate issue, but they're married in a lot of ways.
They are.
So how do you, with your experience, bring this to the table to get some unity in both parties to get something done?
Well, like you said, I've lived it. And I came to the U.S. when I was 11, became a U.S. citizen in 2006. It was almost 14 years between those two periods. And what's interesting is that I became a member of Congress in 2022. It almost took me longer to become a U.S. citizen than it did to become a U.S. congressman after becoming a citizen. That's how long the process takes. So that's the immigration side of things that we absolutely need to fix. Focus on work visas, which is what is every business out there is asking for. Workforce, whether it's agriculture or healthcare that I've been touring a lot of hospitals. These are all things we need to be focusing on, and that's in the immigration bucket. Border security is where the really bad actors are coming in and trafficking people, trafficking drugs. In some ways, they need to be dealt separately. In some ways, they overlap. And what's happening is this impacting every state across the country, and members from the Democrat Party are also understanding this and putting pressure on the White House. That's why you see them speaking out on it, because now it's at the point that they have to.
Let's talk about the issue with the budget. A lot of Republicans taking heat with the debt ceiling and what had to be done there, yourself included. There are some people that took some heat for that. Can you explain that decision of what would happen if it didn't happen? And are we in danger of a government shutdown coming our way soon?
Well, the deal wasn't perfect, and we knew that. What it did do is much better than when we were before. You got to remember the last 9 times that the debt ceiling was raised, it was raised without any kind of conditions. This was the first time in over 2 decades that the debt ceiling was raised with conditions like we will spend less money next year than we did this year, no new taxes, no new government programs, clawing back COVID funding, repayment of student loans, all the things that we ran on are many of them are on there. Now, it's not perfect. I wish we would have gotten more money to defense, for example, and things like that. So although not perfect, we're in a much better position. Now we're facing the appropriations process, and this is where we got to get the 12 bills out of the committee. I'm in the appropriations committee, the only Arizona member to be on that committee, and we've only gotten 1 out of the House floor. We've gotten 10 out of the committee, 1 out of the House floor, so we're way behind schedule to meet that September 30th deadline, and the options beyond that are not great for anyone, so we have to go to work immediately after we get back.
What are the non-negotiables in your mind? What has to be in those bills?
Spending is what has gotten us where we are, $33 trillion in debt. We've been very responsible on this. We've only increased spending to not even in some cases keep up with inflation in the area of homeland security, veterans, and also defense. These are the 3 areas where we didn't reduce any spending, but actually increased it modestly. And the other areas were areas where we clawed back a lot of the misspending out there. And we've decreased that. We've curved that spending. And that's what we need to get out of the House.
So I've asked this question rhetorically on the air. Does America have a spending problem, or does America have an income problem? And in my mind, we have a spending problem. But how do you get the 2 parties to agree on where that area needs to be reined in? It seems like nobody's told no.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. Washington has a spending problem. They've been on this spending spree under both parties, to be very frank with you.
Yes.
You've got, in the last, in this century, presidents on both sides, Houses and Senate majorities on both sides, that one thing that has made everybody in common is the spending spree that Washington has been on. So absolutely, that for me is a big factor. Americans know that when things are tight, you spend less and you're more careful with your spending. The income question is very interesting because, we're seeing a vast increase in spending and income as well as a country, but the spending is just way more than that. So that is the discipline that comes in, and anybody that is really serious about getting this back in order needs to understand that.
All right, I know you have one more segment with us. We're going to talk about Arizona. The president was here recently declaring another national monument a threat to mining in many people's minds. We're going to talk about how much land is controlled, the congressman's opinion on those things. We're also going to talk about some other things in the presidential race. It's all coming up next.
Breaking news, traffic, and weather 24/7 with traffic updates every 6 minutes weekday mornings on Arizona's only all-news morning show. Arizona gets its news from Arizona's news station. KTAR News on your radio at 92.3 FM and streaming live on the KTAR News app.
At Shane Company, we believe everybody is made to shine. It doesn't matter who you are or where you're from. Your moments, your milestones, your love story all deserve to shine bright. You don't need an occasion. You and your life are the event. So put on earrings that make you sparkle, diamonds that light up the room, an heirloom you'll treasure for years to come. We're all made to shine. Shane Company, fine jewelry since 1929.
Hey everybody, Chad here with Liberty GMC's General Manager Chris Scott. Labor Day is just around the corner. Are you ready, Chris?
Of course, Chad. I'm ready. In fact, inventory is so hot right now, I've decided to start the Labor Day sales event early. Save big on new models like up to $8,000 off the all-new 2023 GMC Sierra 1500. We also have huge savings on all of our pre-owned inventory, so take advantage of the best selection in the Valley.
Beat the crowds and get your Labor Day savings early. Shop online at libertygmcac.com. GMC, we are professional grade.
I was having a lot of sinus infections. My sinuses were clogged, pressure, headaches.
Linda suffered for years with chronic sinus infections.
You don't feel like doing anything. When you feel like your head is completely clogged, all you want to do is just lay down and sleep. And the pressure is just not fun, always walking around with a headache.
Now her issues are gone. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of Arizona Breathe-Free Sinus and Allergy Centers called balloon sinuplasty.
I really did not know what it was like to feel like you're really breathing and not being so clogged up. I would do it again in a heartbeat, and I would definitely recommend it for someone else.
Do you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, congestion? Find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Set an appointment today with the Arizona Breathe-Free Sinus and Allergy Centers. Call 602-635-7302. 602-635-7302. That's 602-635-7302.
Who needs name brands when you have the Natural Grocers brand? Our private label selection is over 850 products strong and growing. Whether you're craving a charcuterie board on a budget or an elevated frozen pizza handmade in Italy, the Natural Grocers brand has the goods. Exceptional standards, premium quality, always affordable prices, and no artisanal flavor was lost in the making of this ad.
Looking for a personalized approach to retirement planning and investing? Look no further than Bright Wealth Management. As a boutique investment firm, we offer individualized fiduciary services that puts your needs first. Our team of expert advisors will work with you to create a customized strategy tailored to your personal goals and risk tolerance. You can rest assured that your best interests are always our top priority. Give us a call at 888-777-4296 or visit us online at brightwm.com and listen to the Bright Wealth Management Show Sundays 3 to 4 p.m. on KTAR News 92.3 FM.
KTAR News Flash.
At 9:46, I'm Jeff Munn. Here's what you need to know right now.
I heard an apology, and that's why I asked for mercy from the judge.
Clint Heckman with the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors telling the Mike Broomhead Show he asked a U.S. District Court judge for mercy before the sentencing of the man who pled guilty to making threats to Hickman and former Arizona Attorney General Mark Brnovich over the 2020 election. The judge imposed the maximum sentence of 2.5 years in prison. The city of Phoenix accusing one of the business owners suing them over the homeless encampment known as The Zone of contributing to the problem. KTAR legal analyst Barry Markson says the notice of recent development accuses one of the plaintiffs of dumping mattresses near the zone where those experiencing homelessness can use them to live there. Powerful women are leading the charge and helping drive not only the national economy but Arizona's as well. ASU economics professor Susan Tang says Taylor Swift's Eras Tour stop in Arizona led to more local economic growth than last year's Super Bowl. Arizona Congressman Juan Ciscomani continues his discussion with our Mike Broomhead in just a few moments. You can hear it all at KTAR.com. Watch it at KTAR.com as well, the KTAR News app, or at 92.3 FM. You're never more than 15 minutes away from today's top stories on Arizona's news station, KTAR News. Mike Broomhead's back in 60 seconds.
Visit Earnhardt Genesis of North Scottsdale during the Genesis Signature Event for outstanding offers now through Labor Day. Just off the 101 on Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard. Open 24/7 online at EarnhardtGenesisofNorthScottsdale.com, where luxury is at your fingertips with remote car buying options and where convenience is a priority with services like Genesis Cares, where you can shop the award-winning array of Genesis products, including all new electric options. Now take advantage of low 3.9% APR financing for 60 months, available on most new 2023 Genesis models, including the sought-after GV70 and GV80 luxury SUVs. Stop in for luxury and convenience at Earnhardt Genesis of North Scottsdale, a trusted name in the Valley since 1951. For well-qualified buyers with approved credit, APR for 60 months is $18.19 per month per $1,000 financed. Down payment will vary depending on APR. See dealer for details. Offer ends 9/5/23.
Gillette Intimate gives guys a gentle and easy shave on there, and around there, and even under there. Don't treat your groin like junk. Respect it with Gillette Intimate, the best a man can get. Buy now at a retailer near you.
Strong values and strong opinions. The Mike Broomhead Show. KTAR News, 92.3 FM, and the KTAR News app.
All right, in studio with me is Congressman Juan Ciscomani from Southern Arizona. I had an interesting conversation with people. I've been focused on mining a little bit more.
Yeah.
When the president came, it was like an assault kind of on uranium mining near the Grand Canyon. That's why they named that national monument in many people's minds. But we have so much happening here in Arizona. I believe we're number one in non-fuel mining in the country as far as income goes in the state of Arizona. And with the need for minerals, the push we have toward electric vehicles and solar energy, those minerals have to be taken out of the ground. And if we're going to continue to fight about whether or not allow this to happen in more federal land takeovers, we're turning this over to other countries. Is it a national security issue?
It's an issue all around. You look at copper in Arizona. I mean, it's one of the 5 Cs. So this is as old as the state has been in terms of being an important factor of the state. I was just in Morenci yesterday, the largest open pit mine, copper pit mine in North America. I was there visiting it, and I mean, just to say the operation is in excellent condition, the safety measures, the environmental concerns that are met there, they're running an amazing operation. They're not the only one, obviously, in Arizona. That's the one in my district over in Morenci. And I got to tell you, I was very impressed with that. And when you look at the bigger picture, not only is it a 4,000 employee center there, plus 1,500 contractors, so the economic development piece on there is humongous, but it's also, if you look at the bigger picture of national security, like you mentioned, electrification, whichever way people think on that, one thing is noted that copper will be needed for that. And you got China, you got India that are not playing by any kind of environmental rules regarding the production of copper. They're digging in whatever way they do in their countries. And when the supply is needed for this, who's going to supply it? Either the United States, that we've been able to do it in an environmentally conscious and productive way, or is China and India going to produce this for us?
Yeah, and when you look at this new vein of copper that was found, the Resolution copper mine, that is supposed to be one of the biggest in the world and one of the biggest ever, that this could be the answer to a lot of those issues. There is so much more copper that goes into an electric vehicle than goes into a gas-powered vehicle.
That's right.
And so for the environmentalists out there that want us moving in that direction, you've got to give somewhere. And there has to be, as you said, the mining world now has changed. It's so much different than it was 50 years ago.
It absolutely is. When I was looking at that, 89% of the water that they used, it's recycled by themselves there. So
and they've stored a lot of that.
And they've
water.
stored a lot of that. I saw it, and the process. I got to see the process. I visited the actual pit before. Now I got to see the behind the scenes and how the rock gets broken down into powder at the end of the day to 30% copper, and then goes off to Miami for the rest of the process there. But this whole thing happens, and I'm telling you, the water recycling plants and how environmentally conscious everything is there. It's incredible.
Let's talk about, if you don't mind, the presidential election. I just want to get your perspective. Former President Trump indicted in Georgia. His poll numbers have seemed to go up. He seems to be more popular since this has happened. What do you make of this election cycle in 24?
Well, it definitely started way too early. We've been talking about this since the beginning of this year. I was elected in November of 22. By January of 23, we were already talking about the 24 election. And I think people need a break from this. I think we all do to be able to do our jobs as representatives. Nevertheless, the 24 election is going to be a consequential one in more ways than one. Obviously, it's a presidential one. The U.S. Senate is going to be up for grabs as well. And the House, with a 5-seat majority, we have to make sure that we keep on securing that. It's gonna be a wild one. It already is. You saw the debate. You and I were talking off the air about that. There was a lot of action, a lot of flair, and at the end of the day, it's just I'm not sure who's leading the way, but we do have a diverse slate of candidates that I'm proud of what we have there, and we'll see who turns out to be leading up more and more at the end of the day.
Congressman Juan Ciscomani is joining us. And to your point, I like the primary process because as similar as everybody is on that stage, there are nuanced differences, and that I think is going to be the key to success for whichever nominee it is. But are we too far away from the issues? I mean, that's the thing I'm concerned. It seems to be still more of a popularity contest than it is about your stance on issues in some cases. Does that wear off as we get closer? Do people get more focused on issues as we get closer?
I think the candidates are going to reflect what the public is asking for. And from what I'm talking, I've been everywhere since I got back. I've been to Benson, Wilcox. I was just in town of Pima, Safford, Thatcher, obviously Tucson, Casa Grande. I've been everywhere since I got back, Sierra Vista, the border. And what people want to talk about is the price of the goods that they're consuming, especially on food and on gas. And they want to talk about safety in their streets. These are the things that matter to people. And I think if our politicians at the very highest level of running to be the president of the United States of America can spend more time with just people, real America. I say all the time that when you're in Washington, you're in this bubble. You come back and you get reminded what real America is all about. Who is, making decisions, people sending their kids to school. I was doing some napkin math. I'm the first member in Southern Arizona in about 40 years to be representing the state, that area, but while raising kids. Why does that matter? Because you drop off at the school line and you hear the moms and the dads talking about kitchen table issues. So these are the things that we need our presidential candidates to also be connected to, the real issues in America.
So one of the issues that they're saying is a real stumbling block for Republicans is the issue on abortion. People have come after you on this issue. Can you just clarify why this is such a big issue in your mind, and just some clarification on your stance?
Well, it's a big issue because it is a big issue. It's an important issue. I'm a dad of 3 girls. I have 6 kids overall. I'm dad of 3 girls, obviously with my wife, Laura. I will never do anything to jeopardize a woman's health. I've been very clear on my stance on this, and it's been made a political point out of it, and quite honestly, not only exaggerated, but lied upon. That was the whole cycle last time, and I suspect that they're going to try to misrepresent my position again this time. I never want to do anything to jeopardize a woman's health or take the ability of my own girls away from them being able to make their own choices regarding their health. Now, when you look at exceptions, I believe in the exceptions that you know about, rape, incest, the life of the mother. These are all the things that we have to keep in place to make sure that we protect women's health. And I've also said that this is a state issue. And now we have some efforts here in Arizona to do that. When you look at either bans or support at the national and federal level with tax dollars, that's where I'm going to have an issue. But we're going to deal with this on state-by-state basis. That's what I've been saying, and that's where we're going to take this.
I appreciate the time. Is there a way to do you have a personal website where people can see the issues in your district?
Oh, absolutely. You just Google Juan Ciscomani, my official page will pop up. Reach out to us there, and we'll be happy to help anyone.
I appreciate you coming in, and I know you've got a crazy schedule, so the time means a lot.
Thanks a lot, Mike. Happy to be on.
All right, that is Congressman Juan Ciscomani joining us for just a few moments. These issues are going to be important moving into 2024, and having people in the state that are doing Arizona's bidding matters the most, and he is one of them. If you want to check out